The first time Detective Harding saw Liam Brennan, he was sitting on the curb outside his own upscale condo building, the kind with glass walls overlooking the glittering, indifferent city. Rain slicked the pavement under the strobing red and blue lights. Liam wasn't crying. He wasn't shouting. He just stared straight ahead, hands clamped over his ears like he was trying to block out a sound only he could hear. Inside apartment 14B, paramedics were attending to Alex Sterling. The initial call had come in garbled. Disturbance, possible assault. But the scene wasn't one of overt violence. It was something stranger, quieter, yet radiating a psychic shockwave that had the seasoned first responders exchanging uneasy glances. Liam Brennan, a rising star at Sterling Financial Holdings, had just discovered the person he'd brought home, the person he believed to be Alexa Sterling, the CEO's captivating daughter, was not who or what he thought. The discovery hadn't involved bloodshed, not in the literal sense. It had involved a shattering of reality so profound, it left Liam catatonic on a curb, and Alex curled on a $1,000 rug, weeping with a terrifying, desolate finality. It was supposed to be the culmination of a fairy tale romance, the kind Liam, who'd clawed his way up from a background far removed from this world of penthouse views and legacy wealth, had only dreamed of. Instead, it detonated, leaving behind questions that would ignite a media firestorm and unravel secrets far darker than a hidden identity. The central question, Harding knew, wouldn't just be what happened in apartment 14B. It would be why, and who exactly was the victim here. The answer, like the city lights reflected in the wet street, would prove disturbingly elusive, fractured into 100 different conflicting truths. Liam Brennan hadn't just fallen for Alexa Sterling. He'd fallen for the idea of Alexa Sterling. It started 6 months prior at the Sterling Corp annual charity gala, a cavernous ballroom dripping with crystal and entitlement. Liam, then a junior analyst barely 2 years out of business school, felt like an imposter in his rented tux. He nursed a single glass of champagne, trying to look like he belonged, when Arthur Sterling, the firm's imposing CEO, had clapped him on the shoulder. Sterling was a man carved from granite and ambition, his reputation preceding him, brilliant, ruthless, demanding absolute loyalty. "Brennan, right? Heard good things. Keep it up," Sterling had grunted, his eyes already scanning the room for bigger fish. Liam was about to mumble his thanks when Sterling gestured vaguely. "Met my daughter Alexa," and there she was. Or who he thought was Alexa, tall, impossibly chic in emerald silk, with eyes that seemed to hold the city's entire skyline. She smiled, a dazzling, slightly distant thing, and offered a hand. "Liam, Dad talks about the promising ones." Her voice was low, captivating. Liam was instantly smitten. It wasn't just her looks. It was the aura, the proximity to power, the validation. "He talks about me." Their initial conversations were brief, curated, often under the watchful, albeit seemingly casual gaze of Arthur Sterling himself. Colleagues noticed. "Saw you talking to the princess." Mark, another analyst, had nudged him later. "Playing with fire, man, or maybe aiming for the throne." Liam brushed it off, but the thought lingered. Was this his way in? Not just professionally, but into this world? Alexa was enigmatic. Their dates were carefully chosen. Trendy gallery openings, exclusive restaurant reservations always made under her name. Late-night walks along the riverfront that somehow always ended with separate cars. Intimacy was slow, almost hesitant. Liam, eager not to rush, not to blow this incredible chance, interpreted it as refined, classy. He saw her coyness as mystique, her occasional silences as depth. He projected his own aspirations onto her shimmering surface. "She's different," he confided in his sister Maya over a rare weekend call back home. "Not like anyone I've ever met. Intense, smart, a little guarded maybe." Maya, ever the pragmatist, had sounded a note of caution. "Guarded how? Like I have complex feelings, or guarded like I have secrets?" Liam had laughed then. "Come on, Maya. She's Arthur Sterling's daughter. Her biggest secret is probably which Hampton's house she prefers." He wanted to believe it. He needed to believe it. Because Arthur Sterling had started taking a more direct interest in Liam's career. Project leads, client meetings previously above his pay grade, subtle hints of a fast track. The implication was unspoken but clear. Impress the daughter, impress the father. Stay in line. Perform. The pressure mounted. blurring the lines between personal desire and professional ambition, until Liam himself wasn't sure where one ended and the other began. He ignored the faint, persistent hum of unease. The moments Alexa seemed to flinch from an unexpected touch, the way her stories about her past sometimes felt rehearsed. He was climbing, wasn't he? This was the dream. He just had to reach out and take it. The build-up to that night felt, in retrospect, like a meticulously set stage. Arthur Sterling had been unusually effusive at the quarterly review meeting just days before. "Brennan," he'd announced, his voice echoing slightly in the glass-walled boardroom, "you're leading the pitch for the Kensington account. It's big. Don't screw it up." Sterling had paused, a predatory stillness about him. "Alexa mentioned you two are hitting it off? Good. Stability matters." Liam felt a flush creep up his neck. It was both a blessing and a threat. The Kensington account was legendary, a career maker. Linking it, however subtly, to his relationship with Alexa felt like Sterling was tightening an invisible leash. That evening, Alexa texted him, "My place tonight, Dad's out of town." Except her place was the sprawling Sterling penthouse, a fortress Liam had never been invited inside. He countered, suggesting his own apartment. Smaller, less intimidating, neutral. "Your place then, 8 p.m. Don't be late." The winking emoji felt jarringly out of character, almost forced. But Liam, caught between ambition and burgeoning affection, read it as playful anticipation. He spent the afternoon tidying his already neat condo, agonizing over wine choices, the nervous energy thrumming under his skin. This felt different, a step forward. Maybe the guardedness was finally receding. He remembered the precise moment she arrived. He opened the door, and she stood there, bathed in the soft glow of the hallway light. She wore a simple black dress, her hair pulled back, revealing the elegant line of her neck. But her eyes, they held a flicker of something Liam hadn't seen before. Not nervousness exactly, more like resignation, resolve. "You look amazing," he breathed, stepping aside to let her in. "You too," she replied, her voice softer than usual. She barely glanced at the apartment, heading straight for the balcony, towards the city lights. Liam followed, offering her a glass of wine he'd carefully selected. She took it, her fingers brushing his, a touch that sent a jolt through him, but her gaze remained fixed on the skyline. They talked, but the conversation felt stilted, circling familiar topics without landing anywhere meaningful. Liam found himself doing most of the talking, filling the silences, recounting work anecdotes, trying to recapture the easy charm of their earlier dates. Alexa offered brief replies, her smiles tight, fleeting. The air crackled with unspoken tension. Was she regretting this? Was the pressure too much? Liam worried he'd misread everything. Finally, she turned from the railing, setting her barely touched wine glass down. "Liam," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "there's something I need to tell you." He braced himself. A breakup? A confession of seeing someone else? His mind raced through disastrous scenarios, none of them preparing him for the reality. But before she could continue, he stepped closer, driven by a desperate need to salvage the evening to prove Sterling right about his stability. He closed the distance between them, framing her face with his hands. "Whatever it is, we can handle it," he murmured, leaning in. The kiss was hesitant at first, then deepened. He felt her initial stiffness, then a sudden, surprising surrender. He pulled her closer, his hand sliding down her back, over the smooth silk of her dress. And then, his fingers brushed against something unexpected beneath the fabric. A firmness, a contour that didn't align with the image he held so vividly in his mind. Confusion flickered. He shifted his hand slightly, exploring, his brain struggling to reconcile the tactile information with the visual one. Silk, softness, and then, unmistakably, the binding compression of fabric unlike any dressmaker used. He pulled back abruptly, his eyes wide with dawning, horrified disbelief. Alex flinched, stepping away, arms crossing instinctively over their chest. The carefully constructed facade crumbled in an instant, revealing the raw panic beneath. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating, broken only by the distant wail of a siren that seemed, in that moment, to be racing towards the wreckage of Liam's world. The air in apartment 14B turned to ice. Liam stared, his mind a frantic scramble of denial and sickening realization. The dress, the hair, the voice. Meticulously crafted, yes, but suddenly, horrifyingly transparent. It wasn't just the binding. It was the subtle tension in the jawline he'd mistaken for intensity, the slight depth in the voice he'd found captivating, the careful way Alexa moved, sat, gestured, all clicking into place with nauseating clarity. Who are you? The question came out as a choked whisper. The person before him, Alex, visibly flinched. Tears welled, spilling silently down cheeks that, moments ago, Liam had longed to caress. "My name is Alex," they whispered, the voice cracking, losing the carefully modulated feminine lilt, roughening into something lower, undeniably masculine. "Alex Sterling." Liam staggered back, hitting the edge of his sofa. "But, Alexa, your father." The pieces wouldn't fit. Arthur Sterling introducing his daughter? The society pages, the company gossip. Always, Alexa. "My father prefers Alexa," Alex said, bitterness lacing the fear. "He always has. It's easier. For his image. For business." The cynicism in those words struck Liam like a physical blow. Easier? This elaborate, soul-crushing deception was easier? So this whole time? Liam gestured wildly, encompassing the past 6 months. The dates, the gala, the smiles, the hints of a future. It was all a lie? A performance? Alex looked away, shame and defiance warring on their face. "Not all of it," they mumbled. I liked you, Liam. I really did. But I couldn't." They trailed off, unable to articulate the impossible bind they were in. Liked him. The words felt like ash in Liam's mouth. Liked him enough to weave this web, to let him walk head first into this catastrophe. The initial shock began to curdle into a potent mix of fury and betrayal. He felt used, played, a pawn in some twisted Sterling family psychodrama. "You liked me?" he repeated, his voice rising, cracking with incredulity. "You think that makes this okay? You let me believe. You let everyone believe. My job, my reputation. Sterling." The mention of the father seemed to trigger something in Alex. The fear sharpened. "He can't know you found out like this," Alex pleaded, taking a step towards him. "Liam, please, he'll destroy you. He'll destroy me." Destroy him. Liam felt a surge of adrenaline, hot and blinding. Sterling already had used him. This whole relationship, the promotion, the Kensington pitch, it was all tainted, possibly orchestrated. Was Alex just bait? A test? A way for Sterling to control his ambitious young analyst? "Get out," Liam snarled, pointing towards the door, his hand shaking. "Get out of my apartment now." Alex hesitated, fresh tears streaming. "Liam, listen to me. It's not that simple. My father. I don't care about your father," Liam roared, the sound echoing in the suddenly too small space. "I care about the fact that you lied to me. About everything." He took a step forward, not meaning to menace, but fueled by a sense of profound violation. Alex misinterpreted the movement, stumbling backward, tripping over the rug near the balcony door. They fell awkwardly, hitting the floor with a cry not of pain but of pure terror. Liam froze, the sound jarring him out of his rage. He hadn't touched Alex. But the image, Alex crumpled on the floor, looking utterly broken and afraid, was damning. In that instant, a neighbor, likely alerted by the shouting, pounded on the door. "Everything okay in there?" Simultaneously, Liam's phone buzzed. It was Arthur Sterling. The timing was too perfect, too chilling. Panic seized Liam. Sterling knew. How could he know already? Had Alex texted him? Was this part of the plan? He didn't answer the phone. He didn't answer the door. He just stood there, heart hammering against his ribs, staring at Alex on the floor as the illusion of his life shattered around him like broken glass. That's when someone, the neighbor, maybe seeing Alex fall through the gap in the blinds, called 911. The sirens he'd heard earlier weren't distant anymore. They were closing in. Detective Harding leaned back in the interrogation room chair, the cheap plastic groaning under his weight. Across the metal table, Liam Brennan looked smaller, diminished. The expensive suit rumpled, his eyes hollowed out. He'd been brought in for questioning, not arrested, yet. The official line was disturbance, potential domestic dispute, but Harding knew this was miles beyond that. "So, let's go over it again, Liam," Harding said, his voice deceptively calm. "You invite Alexa Sterling over. You've been seeing her for 6 months. You attempt intimacy. You discover Alex is biologically male. You argue. Alex falls. Neighbor calls 911. That about sum it up? Liam nodded mutely, tracing patterns on the tabletop with a trembling finger. I didn't push him, he insisted, his voice hoarse. Alex. I didn't push Alex. They tripped. I yelled yes. I was shocked, angry, betrayed. Wouldn't you be? Harding didn't answer the rhetorical question. Shocked, angry, or were you violent, Liam? Did you feel threatened? Did you lash out? He leaned forward slightly. Alex Sterling alleges you became enraged, verbally abusive, and advanced menacingly, causing them to fall while retreating in fear. Liam's head snapped up. That's not what happened. I was reeling. He lied to me. For months. His father. Ah yes, Arthur Sterling, Harding interrupted, tapping a pen. He arrived on scene shortly after patrol, expressed deep concern for his child's well-being, provided a statement suggesting you have a volatile temper when under pressure, mentioned the upcoming Kensington pitch, suggested the stress might have made you unstable. Liam gaped. Unstable. He set me up. This whole thing, the relationship, the promotion. It felt off, like he was dangling bait. And Alex went along with it. They warned me Sterling would destroy me if I found out. Warned you. Harding raised an eyebrow. Or threatened you. Alex claims you became furious when they tried to confess, refusing to listen, shouting obscenities. The conflicting narratives hung in the air. He said, they said. But one party was the child of Arthur Sterling, CEO. The other was an employee whose career Sterling held in the palm of his hand. Harding had seen this dynamic play out countless times. Power rarely needed proof. It simply asserted its version of reality. We have Alex's statement, Harding continued, watching Liam's reaction closely. We have Arthur Sterling's statement corroborating Alex's fear of your temper. We have the neighbor's 911 call reporting shouting and a fall. What we don't have, Liam, is much corroboration for your side. Liam looked cornered, desperate. Check my phone. Check Alex's phone. The texts. Look at the timing of Sterling's call right after I found out. It doesn't make sense unless they planned it, unless Sterling knew. Harding made a note. We'll subpoena the records, standard procedure. But phone records don't show intent, Liam. They don't show tone. They don't prove Alex wasn't genuinely trying to confess, or that your reaction wasn't disproportionate. He paused. Forensics found no signs of physical assault on Alex, consistent with a fall, but they did find your fingerprints on the wine glass Alex was holding near the balcony. Liam paled. I handed them the glass earlier. Maybe, Harding conceded. Or maybe you grabbed it during the argument. The implication was clear. Without concrete evidence to back up his claim of a setup, Liam's story sounded like the panicked defense of someone caught in a compromising, potentially violent situation. The power imbalance was stark. Arthur Sterling could paint Liam as an unstable, ambitious climber who snapped when his fantasy fell apart. Alex, positioned as the vulnerable victim, elicited sympathy. And Liam? He was looking increasingly like the perpetrator. My career, Liam whispered, the fight draining out of him. He'll ruin me. Harding offered no comfort. Right now, your career is the least of your worries, son. We're trying to figure out if a crime was committed in that apartment, and if so, by whom. The door opened, and a uniformed officer leaned in. Detective, Sterling's lawyer is here. Wants to provide additional context regarding Mr. Brennan's history of workplace intensity. Harding sighed. The machine was already grinding Liam down. The fallout was swift and brutal. Even before formal charges were considered, the Sterling PR machine went into overdrive. Anonymous sources fed carefully curated leaks to gossip columns and financial blogs. Liam Brennan, the unstable analyst, the obsessive climber, who couldn't handle rejection. Details of the incident were twisted, whispers of violence amplified, Alex's deception downplayed or omitted entirely. Liam was suspended from Sterling Corp pending an internal investigation, a process he knew was merely a formality before termination. His corporate email and building access were revoked within hours. Colleagues who'd clapped him on the back days before now avoided eye contact or crossed the street. Mark, the one who'd joked about aiming for the throne, left a clipped voicemail. Dude, what the hell happened? Sterling's going scorched earth. Lay low. Lay low. Liam felt like he was trapped under a microscope. His condo building became a stakeout spot for photographers. His face, pulled from his company profile, was plastered online alongside speculative, salacious headlines. CEO's daughter attacked by exec lover. Shocking secret behind Sterling Corp assault. Transgender terror in luxury high-rise. The narrative rarely mentioned Alex's biological sex or the months of deception. It focused on Liam's reaction, framing Alex as the victim of a transphobic attack, a narrative deftly encouraged by Sterling's camp. Liam felt trapped in a nightmare funhouse mirror, reflecting a monstrous version of himself he didn't recognize. His sister Maya flew in, her face etched with worry. "Liam, you need a lawyer, a good one, not just some public defender." He was drowning in legal fees he couldn't afford. His savings dwindled. The Kensington pitch, his potential career triumph, was now assigned to someone else. He saw an article praising the new team lead, featuring a smiling quote from Arthur Sterling about moving forward with reliable talent. It felt like a deliberate twist of the knife. He tried contacting Alex directly, sending desperate texts and emails, pleading for them to tell the truth, the whole truth. "Alex, please. You know I didn't attack you. You know your father is twisting this. Tell them what really happened." There was no reply, only silence amplifying his isolation. The police investigation seemed stalled, caught between the conflicting accounts and the immense pressure exerted by Sterling's legal team. Detective Harding called occasionally, asking repetitive questions, his tone increasingly skeptical of Liam's setup theory. "Liam, we have the phone records," Harding admitted in one call. "Sterling called you, yes, right after Alex fell. But Alex also sent a text to their father moments before simply saying, 'Help.' That doesn't exactly scream conspiracy." "Help?" Liam's blood ran cold. Had Alex sent that before or after the confrontation? Was it a genuine plea or part of the script? He couldn't know. He felt the net tightening. The workplace intensity narrative gained traction. An old HR complaint surfaced. Liam had argued heatedly with a superior over a project deadline a year ago. Minor infraction, resolved quickly. But now, it was Exhibit A in the case for his volatile temper. Liam started obsessively replaying every interaction with Alex, searching for missed clues, for evidence of the long con, the hesitant touches, the controlled environments, the vague answers, Arthur Sterling's unnerving focus. It felt so obvious now, yet he'd been blind, dazzled by ambition and desire. Was Alex a willing participant, or a captive in their own life, forced into this role by a domineering father? Liam found himself oscillating between fury at Alex and a strange, unsettling pity. One rain-slicked afternoon, staring out at the city that now felt alien and hostile, Liam saw a news report. A spokesperson for a prominent LGBTQ+ advocacy group was decrying the violent attack on Alex Sterling, demanding justice and condemning transphobic violence. Liam felt sick. His shock, his sense of betrayal. It was being weaponized, twisted into bigotry. The moral complexity was suffocating. He had been deceived, manipulated, his career potentially sabotaged. But Alex was also navigating a difficult, perhaps dangerous reality under their father's thumb. Where did the manipulation end and genuine identity begin? Who was the real victim when everyone seemed caught in Arthur Sterling's gravitational pull? The truth felt increasingly irrelevant, buried under layers of spin, fear, and power. Liam hired Emily Carter, a sharp, tenacious defense attorney whose small firm specialized in fighting uphill battles against powerful adversaries. Maya had found her, pooling family resources to cover the retainer. Their first meeting was blunt. "Okay, Liam," Emily said, scanning the file Harding's office had reluctantly shared. "Let's be clear, right now you look like the bad guy. Rich kid's word against yours. Daddy's pulling strings. Media's painting you as a violent transphobe. We're starting deep in a hole." Liam slumped. "I know, but it's not true, none of it. Truth is a luxury in court, Liam. Evidence is currency," Emily countered, tapping the police report. "Alex's statement is consistent. Sterling's statement backs it up." The neighbor heard shouting. "You admit you yelled, you admit you were angry. What you don't have is proof of this elaborate setup you're alleging. The timing of the call from Sterling? Alex warning me he'd destroy me? Circumstantial," Emily shot back. "Could be interpreted multiple ways. Alex's help text looks bad for you. Sterling calling could just be a father's concern after a distressing text. Alex warning you could be seen as them fearing your reaction, not their father's machinations. She leaned forward. We need something concrete. Something that proves Alex wasn't just a scared kid trying to come out to you, and you reacted badly. Something that shows Sterling actively manipulated this situation. Emily started digging. She filed motions for more extensive discovery. Sterling Corp internal emails, Arthur Sterling's personal phone records, Alex's therapy records. A long shot, likely blocked by privacy laws, but worth trying. She hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop named Sal, to look into Alex's life, discreetly interviewing former friends, school acquaintances, anyone outside the Sterling orbit. Sal's initial findings were fragments, whispers. Alex had been withdrawn, artistic, bullied in boarding school. There were rumors of tension with the father, periods where Alex seemed to disappear from the social scene, only to reappear, often after Arthur Sterling intervened. Alexa seemed to emerge more prominently in the last couple of years, coinciding with Arthur's desire to project a more stable family image after a messy divorce. It's weird, Sal reported back to Emily. People talk about Alex, the quiet one. Then suddenly it's Alexa, outgoing, stylish, always on Dad's arm at events. Like a switch flipped. Some folks thought Alexa was a different relative entirely. Emily seized on this. The persona. Was it forced? Can we prove it? Meanwhile, Liam's life continued its downward spiral. His landlord started eviction proceedings. He sold his car. He avoided going outside, the judgmental stares and occasional muttered insults wearing him down. He saw Alex once from a distance, entering a sleek black car with tinted windows flanked by security. Alex looked pale, thin, eyes downcast. Liam felt a pang of something complicated. Anger still simmered, but pity was there too. Alex looked less like a manipulator, more like a prisoner. The district attorney's office was weighing charges. Assault, possibly menacing. Sterling's lawyers were pushing hard. Emily managed to delay, arguing for more time to gather evidence, highlighting inconsistencies, planting seeds of doubt about Alex's and Sterling's credibility. Then, Sal got a hit. A former nanny, long since dismissed and living out of state, initially reluctant to talk. Sal charmed, cajoled, offered assurances of anonymity. Finally, she spoke. Arthur, he terrified that poor child, the nanny whispered over a crackling phone line. Always correcting Alex. Sit like a lady. Lower your voice. Then when Alex was a teenager, tried to come out, Arthur went ballistic, sent Alex away to one of those conversion therapy camps. Horrific. When Alex came back, that's when Alexa really started. Emily felt a chill. This wasn't just deception. This was coercion. Abuse. Can you testify to this? Emily asked urgently. A long pause. He ruined my career when I tried to object back then, the nanny said, fear palpable in her voice. He'll find a way to hurt me again. But the seed was planted. Emily knew this was the leverage they needed. Proof that Alex wasn't just deceiving Liam, but was potentially acting under duress, forced into the Alexa persona by a controlling, abusive father. It didn't excuse the deception, but it shifted the narrative, painting Arthur Sterling not as a concerned parent, but as the architect of the entire tragedy. The revelation from the former nanny changed the texture of the case. Emily Carter felt the momentum shift, however slightly. It wasn't just Liam's word against the Sterlings anymore. There was a potential witness to Arthur Sterling's history of control and coercion regarding Alex's identity. But the nanny was terrified, unwilling to come forward publicly without ironclad protection. Emily focused on corroboration, digging deeper into Alex's past, searching for school records, medical files, anything that might hint at the conversion therapy or documented conflict with Arthur. Sterling's lawyers, sensing a potential threat, fought back ferociously, burying Emily in procedural motions and discovery objections. They filed a defamation countersuit against Liam, claiming his set-up allegations were harming the Sterling family reputation. It was a classic tactic. Bleed the opponent dry, legally and financially. Liam felt the pressure intensify. She has to testify, he pleaded with Emily. It proves I wasn't crazy. It proves Sterling manipulated everything. We're working on it, Liam, Emily assured him, though her own doubts lingered. Witness intimidation. especially with someone as powerful as Sterling, was a real risk. But Sterling knows we might have something. He's hitting back hard. The DA, meanwhile, seemed caught in the middle. The potential evidence of Sterling's abuse complicated the simple assault narrative they were initially pursuing against Liam. Charging Liam now looked less like justice for a vulnerable victim, and more like participating in Sterling's cover-up. They postponed the charging decision, citing ongoing investigation. It was a small victory, but the limbo was agonizing for Liam. His life remained on hold, his reputation in tatters. The media attention had cooled slightly, but the narrative of Liam as the aggressor lingered. Then came an unexpected development. Alex Sterling, through a new lawyer unaffiliated with Arthur Sterling, reached out to Emily Carter. Not directly to Liam, but lawyer to lawyer. The message was cautious. Alex might be willing to provide a statement, clarifying the events of that night, but only under specific conditions ensuring their safety and independence from their father. Emily was wary. Was this another Sterling ploy? Or was Alex genuinely trying to break free? What are the conditions? Emily asked Alex's lawyer, a woman named Sarah Chen, known for her advocacy work. Complete anonymity initially, Chen replied. A safe location, away from Arthur's influence, and immunity from any potential perjury charges related to initial statements made under duress. Emily consulted with Liam. It's risky, it could be a trap. But if Alex corroborates the coercion, the forced persona, it could exonerate you. Liam hesitated. Trusting Alex felt impossible. But what choice did he have? Okay, he said finally. Let's hear what Alex has to say. The meeting was arranged in secret, at a neutral location secured by Chen. Liam wasn't present. Only Emily, Chen, and Alex. Emily described Alex as looking fragile but determined, the Alexa facade completely gone. Speaking haltingly at first, then with growing conviction, Alex recounted a life lived under Arthur Sterling's suffocating control, the suppression of their identity, the forced femininity, the threats, the conversion camp. Alex admitted the Alexa persona was entirely constructed to appease their father. He picked you, Liam, Alex explained, tears welling. He saw you as ambitious, eager to please, maybe a little naive. Perfect target. He encouraged the relationship. He wanted leverage, control over you. He implied if I played my part, helped secure you, he might finally ease up. Let me have some freedom. The Kensington pitch? Yes, that was part of it. Sterling wanted Liam indebted, compliant. The night at Liam's apartment? Alex confessed their father had pushed for it, suggesting it was time to solidify the connection. Alex had planned to confess, terrified but desperate, hoping Liam might understand, might even help. But when you found out, the shock, the anger in your eyes, I panicked, Alex admitted. And then Dad called, right on cue. He'd told me to text help if things went wrong, if you reacted badly. He had security nearby. He wanted a pretext to intervene, to paint you as unstable if you didn't play along. Alex confirmed they had tripped, that Liam hadn't touched them, but their father had coached them on the statement, emphasizing Liam's rage, twisting the narrative. I was trapped, Alex whispered. I'm still trapped, but I can't let him ruin your life completely because of me. Emily recorded the entire statement, Chen ensuring all legal protocols were followed. It was explosive, confirmation of Arthur Sterling's manipulation, Alex's coercion, and Liam's version of events. The setup wasn't paranoia, it was real. Emily Carter now held the key. Alex Sterling's recorded statement, corroborated by the nanny's potential testimony. She presented the evidence package to the district attorney's office, along with a formal request to drop all investigation into Liam Brennan and instead open an inquiry into Arthur Sterling for potential coercion, witness tampering, and possibly conspiracy related to corporate maneuvering using Liam as a pawn. The impact within the DA's office was immediate. The narrative flipped. Liam Brennan, the supposed aggressor, now looked like the victim of a sophisticated, ruthless scheme. Alex Sterling emerged not as a malicious deceiver, but as another victim of Arthur Sterling's abuse. The prosecutors, facing the prospect of going after a major city power broker instead of an easy conviction against Liam, were suddenly energized by the challenge, the potential high-profile case. News of the shift leaked inevitably. Initial reports were cautious. New evidence emerges in Sterling case. But soon the details of Alex's statement, attributed to sources close to the investigation, began to surface. The story of Arthur Sterling's alleged abuse, the forced Alexa persona, the conversion therapy attempts, the deliberate setup of Liam Brennan. It was a narrative far more compelling and scandalous than the initial transphobic attack angle. The media pivoted instantly, sensing a bigger story. Arthur Sterling, the titan of finance, was now cast as the villain. The LGBTQ+ advocacy groups that had previously condemned Liam issued careful statements retracting their earlier assumptions, expressing support for Alex and acknowledging the complexity of the situation, denouncing coercive practices like conversion therapy. Arthur Sterling found himself besieged. Reporters camped outside Sterling Corp headquarters and his penthouse. His carefully crafted image crumbled. Sterling issued furious denials through his legal team, painting Alex as troubled and easily influenced, suggesting Liam and his opportunistic lawyer were manipulating Alex for financial gain. He threatened lawsuits against news outlets reporting the allegations, but the damage was done. The Sterling Corp board convened emergency meetings. Sponsors of the charity gala distanced themselves. The Kensington account, once Liam's potential triumph, was now reportedly on shaky ground due to the scandal surrounding the CEO. Liam watched the unfolding drama with a numb sense of vindication, mixed with exhaustion. The clearing of his name felt hollow, overshadowed by the sheer ugliness of the entire affair. He received a single encrypted email from an anonymous account, clearly from Alex. "I'm sorry, Liam, for everything. I hope this helps. Be safe." He didn't reply. What was there to say? His career at Sterling Corp was obviously over, regardless of his exoneration. The internal investigation was quietly dropped, his suspension lifted with back pay offered, but the bridge was burned. He couldn't go back. More importantly, he didn't want to. The ambition that had driven him felt tainted, dangerous. He saw now how easily it had blinded him. The DA's office formally announced they were declining to prosecute Liam Brennan. Simultaneously, they confirmed an active investigation into Arthur Sterling based on credible allegations of witness tampering and coercion. The city buzzed. Arthur Sterling, once untouchable, was suddenly vulnerable. His lawyers fought back, but the tide had turned. Alex now relocated to a secure, undisclosed location, with support from advocacy groups and Chen's legal team, prepared to testify before a grand jury. The nanny, emboldened by Alex's courage and offered protection by the DA, agreed to cooperate fully. Liam, meanwhile, tried to piece his life back together. He left the city, moving in with Maya temporarily, away from the prying eyes and painful memories associated with his apartment, the firm, the life he'd pursued so aggressively. He felt adrift, unsure of his next step. The legal victory was profound, yet the personal cost felt immeasurable. He had survived, but the scars remained. The grand jury investigation into Arthur Sterling unfolded over months, a tense behind-the-scenes battle. Sterling deployed his vast resources, his lawyers challenging every subpoena, attempting to discredit Alex and the nanny, portraying them as unreliable and motivated by revenge or instability. They argued Alex's statement to Emily Carter was inadmissible, coerced by a defense attorney desperate to save her client. But Alex held firm, testifying with quiet dignity about the years of control, the forced persona, the specific instructions regarding Liam. The nanny provided detailed accounts of Sterling's behavior, corroborating Alex's timeline. Financial investigators, prompted by the DA, began scrutinizing Sterling Corp records, looking for evidence that the Kensington pitch manipulation was part of a larger pattern of unethical or illegal business practices. They found irregularities, hints of insider trading, suspiciously timed stock options granted to compliant executives, patterns suggesting Sterling used personal leverage for corporate gain. The case against Arthur Sterling expanded beyond just the coercion of Alex and the framing of Liam. It threatened his entire empire. Liam followed the news from a distance, trying to rebuild. He took a lower-stress job in a different field, far from the cutthroat world of high finance. He started therapy, grappling with the trauma, the betrayal, and his own complicity driven by ambition. He rarely spoke of Alex or the Sterlings, the wound still too raw. He learned through Emily Carter that Alex was also in therapy, beginning the long process of reclaiming their identity, supported by Sarah Chen and various community resources. There was no contact between them. The gulf created by the deception and its aftermath felt too vast to bridge. Finally, facing mounting evidence and the prospect of a devastating public trial, Arthur Sterling blinked. His lawyers negotiated a plea deal. Sterling would plead guilty to obstruction of justice and witness tampering related to coaching Alex's initial statement and attempting to discredit the nanny. Crucially, the deal included no admission of the alleged abuse or the corporate manipulation, allowing him to save face somewhat. He agreed to step down as CEO of Sterling Corp., pay substantial fines, and serve a short supervised probation sentence. No jail time. To many, it felt like a slap on the wrist, another example of wealth and power insulating the guilty. But for Alex, it represented freedom. The plea deal included stipulations guaranteeing Alex's financial independence and barring Arthur from any contact. Alex issued a public statement, read by Sarah Chen. Today marks the end of a painful chapter. My focus now is on healing and living authentically. I hope my story encourages others facing similar pressures to seek help and know they are not alone. Liam read the statement online. He felt a complex mix of relief for Alex and lingering bitterness about the injustice of Sterling's minimal sentence. Emily Carter called him. It's not perfect justice, Liam, but he's out. He's disgraced. Alex is free, and you're cleared. Yeah, Liam said quietly. Cleared. But the experience had irrevocably changed him. The city lights he once saw as symbols of opportunity now seemed colder, sharper, reflecting a world where ambition could be a fatal flaw and truth was easily manipulated. He had been drawn into the Sterling orbit, blinded by the glamour and the promise of success, and had barely escaped the wreckage. The cautionary tale wasn't just about a shocking discovery in an apartment. It was about the insidious nature of power, the corrosive effect of secrets, and the devastating consequences when personal lives become collateral damage in battles fought in boardrooms and behind closed doors. He had survived, but the naive optimism, the driving ambition, those parts of him felt like casualties left behind in apartment 14B, casualties of a night that exposed the brutal fault lines running beneath the glittering surface of the city. The scars, he knew, would likely never fully fade,